I'm Lorenzo Gironi, Principal Architect of the Reedelk Data Integration Platform and co-founder of APIable.io. The Kong Reedelk Transformer plugin transforms the upstream request body or downstream response body by invoking a Reedelk integration flow before hitting the upstream server or before sending the response back to the client. This is particularly useful when we want to transform the data coming from the upstream service to a different format such as text to JSON, JSON to XML, XML to JSON, and so on. In this demo, we're going to start with a very simple use case where we have an API user calling Kong Gateway. Kong has been configured to proxy an upstream service, returning just the text John. In this first case, the API user is going to get as a response John. The second phase, we're going to enable the Reedelk Transformer plugin. We're going to use it to invoke a Reedelk integration flow. The integration flow will be responsible to apply the transformation, and in this case we are going to add the hello world prefix to the data coming from the upstream service. In the second case, the API user will see hello world John in the response. I have Kong up and running on my local machine on a Docker image, and this is its configuration file. There is one service pointing to this URL, and if we invoke this URL, the result is with just the text John and then a route defined on path/transform. If we invoke this route on the Kong Gateway, we get back the response John. Let's now enable the Reedelk Transformer plugin. We are configuring it to invoke a Reedelk integration flow on this URL in the downstream phase with this property. Now this URL is pointing to the Reedelk integration flow that the plugin is going to invoke to apply the transformation. Let's restart Kong in order to apply the plugin. We can now develop the integration flow responsible to do the transformation that we are looking for. We're using IntelliJ. IntelliJ is the most used integrated development environment for Java developers, and it is growing popularity very fast. Creating a new Reedelk project is very easy. We select Reedelk project on the left hand side, and we are going to select use runtime distribution from the file system. Reedelk runtime is a lightweight Java application specifically designed to run on the cloud, which executes integration flow that we're going to develop. To select the runtime home directory, next, and we set the project name Kong demo. And whenever you create a new project, there are two integration flows created out of the box for the developer to help them in getting started faster. And in this particular demo, we are going to use this integration flow, post hello world flow. And this payload set component is the actual component that is going to apply the transformation. So here, as you can see, we are prefixing the text hello world to the message payload expression. Now this message.payload expression is going to contain the data coming from the upstream service. We can start Reedelk runtime and deploy this integration flow. Okay, now Reedelk has started, and we can now go back and invoke Kong again. Now the result is hello world John. Let's say now that the customer comes in, he says, well, no, I don't want to prefix the hello world text, but I want instead a response, a JSON response with a property message containing the data coming from the upstream service, and also another property correlation ID containing UUID, which is going to be uniquely generated every time we invoke the service. It's very easy to implement this with Reedelk Flow Designer. You just define a Groovy object with the property we are looking for, message and correlation ID, and then drag and drop this object to JSON transformer, which is going to transform the Groovy object into JSON. If we now invoke the transform route again, as you can see, we get back the JSON instead of a text prefixed with hello world. And with Reedelk Flow Designer, you can create very powerful integration flows. It's very easy. Just drag and drop the components that you need in your integration flow. For instance, you can use Google Drive components to upload files on Google Drive, or CSV component to manipulate CSV files, MongoDB to access data from Mongo, or XML components to transform XML, and so on. We are adding new components on a weekly basis, and it's also very easy to develop your own custom components as well. This is all for this demo, and thank you very much for listening. And there are a couple of resources you can look up for to understand better how to use the Kong plugin. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you.